Play.
Hello, how are we doing? Sorry, I was having a bit of technical difficulties then. Yes, Tom Grant here. I've not been on the stream for a while. Good day, guys. Hello, guys. Good to see you all. As I say, it's been a while. God, I'm looking very pale. But yes, coming to you from sunny Glasgow. It's been a nice autumny day here in Scotland, in the west of Scotland, and I'll be taking you through the Khachanov, Brandon Nakashima match. I think the players are just warming up at the moment. So I'm going to try and start sharing my screen with a scoreboard. I'll get the stream up and then we can just go through what is going on in that match, what is going on in the tennis world. And yeah, give us a bit of tennis chat for this Thursday evening and let us know where you're calling from, where you're watching from. What's your take on the latest going on around the ATP and the WTA? Did you watch any of the is it the Six Kings Slam last week? Didn't watch much of it. In fact, didn't watch any of it. I'd be lying. Saw some highlights. Wasn't interested. So was I right to not be interested? Was I wrong? Tell me either way. Okay, let's get the scoreboard situation up and running. So let's have a look how we do this. Share screen. We're going to go to, where are we going to go to? No. This is good viewing. Right, okay. Try take two. Right, so yeah, I'll talk you through the scores. I don't know what's going on just yet, but I'll get the stream up and then we'll get the scoreboard up and figure out where we go from here. I am producing all alone. There we go. That little thing might work once I get the scoreboard up. Yeah, that works. Okay, cool. We're halfway there. So yeah, who is watching, listening? We've got a few of you guys on now. Drop a comment. And let us know where you're watching from. Just say hello. I've not been on the stream for quite a while, so I'm a little bit, what's the word? Cold, frosty. Is that the word you use? Who knows? Anyway, trying to get the stream up at the moment. So players are still warming up. I'm being told. Let's see if we can get the screen up. Hello, Ashley. Just listening while driving. Wow. Okay, cool. So yeah, I will keep you as up to date with what is happening in this match, Ashley, as I can. That's good. I like people to give me an understanding. Sometimes I fear maybe I'm not explaining enough. Sometimes I'm maybe over-explaining for something that people are actually watching on the television. So I do appreciate you, Ashley, letting me know. The players are starting to warm up. I believe it's going to be Brandon Nakashima to serve first in this match. So does the little digit beside his name is there. I believe he's won the first point with 124 mile per hour serve. That'll tell me then that I can maybe have access to the stream, which I can. Give me 1 second. Just logging into my account. There we go. Right, so we have some tennis on the TV. Yeah, it is 15 love to Brandon Nakashima. Next thing up is to get you a scoreboard. So that's what I'll do. I believe Vanch might be joining us as well, which is a bonus. Not seen or spoken to Vanch in a while. There we go. Is this what I'm looking for? This might be what I'm looking for. Yeah, that'll do. Will that do? If I scroll up a bit, that'll do. Right, that'll do for now. We're nearly there. Vanch is going to join us. It's 15 all, but introducing. Hello, Vanch, mate. How are you doing? John had said to me that you might be joining, but he said it was a big maybe. So I didn't have much faith actually, Vanch. So good to see you, mate.
Yeah, good to see you, Tom. Been a while.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, just busy, mate. Busy turning 40, Vanch. I'm the big 4-0 now. So, yeah. So I've been drowning my sorrows that way. But yeah, what have you been up to?
It's been exciting in tennis. This week, I'm a big fan of like the 500 bits on the ATP side. 32 player draws, no bias. lot of high stake matches.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, no, listen, I was just thinking that when John asked me to do the stream today, I was just thinking, I actually kind of really like these next few weeks as we come into the kind of indoor swing. They're nice wee tournaments, aren't they? Like you say, the 500s are pretty decent as well. So some pretty good matches on offer. What have you enjoyed so far between Basel and Vienna so far this week? We're on what, Thursday now?
Yeah, I mean, there's always the fight for the last spots at the ATP finals. So that's always a talking point with players like Dimitrov, Paul. They're out today. I think Tsitsipas has an outside chance, but he'd have to like basically win the tournament or something and do well in Paris. Then there's also Tokyo this week. So just been kind of looking at all the action and seeing what's happening and who's going to make the quarters.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll maybe take them event by event then, and kind of starting off with Nakashima, baby. Now, there's a running thing going on in the WhatsApp for Talking Tennis about your your affiliation with Brandon Nakashima. Am I right in saying you played at a certain level with him or against him?
Yeah, I mean, so when I grew up and I was training in San Diego, he and I went to the same academy, so we would be in the same clinics. He would take private lessons on those same courts. I hit with his brother and his cousin a lot, and there was one year where we sold Indian Wells tickets to their family. So
Brilliant.
kind of just ran into him a bunch and seen his development because I know some of his coaches and also just know his family a little bit. So it's been nice to see his rise kind of to the top in 2022. Last year was a tough year with all the injuries, and then this year's sort of been his comeback season, and it's a good effort so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Fair to say you've got a soft spot for the American. Let me ask you then. Recently, I mean, let's talk about his top. Is it top 20 wins? He's had a real recent resurgence of beating some top players and some really really tough matches, but he's come through them. Like, what are you seeing that he's doing differently over the last, say, maybe 3 or 4 months? Is it just the surfaces that are suiting him better?
Yeah, I mean, he's always been really good on hard courts, but that's the surface that he's the most natural in. I think the serve has been been massive for him. Like, he's hitting his spots really well. He's getting a ton of free points, which you don't normally associate with a player like that. When I first saw him growing up, I was like, I knew he had a solid backhand. I knew he was a good returner, but I didn't realize just the accuracy and precision that he has on his serve and how many doors that's opening up for him. So that's been a big key in terms of him winning against top 20 players. I think the forehand has been a little bit more solid. That's kind of been the side that sometimes can be a bit shaky and break down under pressure. But this year it's been holding up really well. He had really good results on the clay, for instance. Like in Barcelona, he beats Rublev. He gets to the third round there, and he started building momentum from there. And the fourth round of the U.S. Open as well, beat Musetti and Runa along the way. And he's been beating up on all the Americans. He beat Tiafoe, he beat Paul twice. It's been kind of a running theme that he's that none of the American men want to face him. I think beat Fritz in Cincinnati as well. Yeah. Some of them have been circumstances have helped him for sure. Where like Paul, for instance, coming off of the run last week in Stockholm was a little bit, maybe not fully as engaged or motivated as he normally would be. But that's still a matchup that Brandon is now doing really well in. And I think the key thing for him is to try to back up those wins. He hasn't quite gotten backed up the top 20 win immediately afterwards, but I think that's the next step. And now he's facing another player who won a title last week and is having a bit of a mini resurgence himself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Karen Khachanov, the man, Mr. Consistency. You always think he gets to at least the quarterfinals of all the Grand Slams. But where do you see the difference in this match? Then very very similar type players, but like you say, players who are of some recent success. Do you think Khachanov? I mean, Khachanov obviously starts as the favourite, but I've got a wee inkling that maybe Nakashima we'll see through this one.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think Khachanov comes in as like a 55-45, maybe 60-40 favorite to me. Just the momentum from last week. I think he still has the length and size to extend a lot of these rallies and maybe potentially make it really sort of workmanlike and physical and get into those sort of baseline exchanges. He can go backhand to backhand. Both of these guys have a pretty solid backhand, so that's going to be a pattern that whoever breaks out of and whoever tries to go down the line first, or whoever. I think Brandon will look to come forward. That's certainly something that he's been working on. I know from his coaches as well. Like he's been trying to finish more points at the net, use some more creativity. His backhand slice has been really good for him as well. So I think, and then obviously, Khachanov moves pretty well for 6'6", but he doesn't quite have the same level of, let's say, creativity and ingenuity as like some of the other, very top players. And that he was kind of a player who broke out and he won the Paris Masters in 2018, and he beat like 4 top 10 players on road. And I thought he was going to be one of those type of players that's going to be streaky week in and week out and then have those big results. But it turned out to be the exact opposite. He kind of transformed himself into a player who's sort of getting to the third, fourth round quarterfinals, but can't get over that hump against the top guys.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Nakashima, I mean, it was an absolute lung-busting rally, that one. I don't know where you are in your stream, but to take it to Juice, Nakashima, it was really the battle of the baseline. Nobody coming forward, nobody taking that risk. Khachanov did have Nakashima moving about the court, but it was the American who took it out with a winner cross-court. And, they're now at Juice, but that's got signs that this one could be, filled with these marathon rallies.
Yeah, that's the shot that also he's been hitting really well. It's that like cross court forehand, trying to get the opponent way stretched out in the outer thirds. Just kind of constructing these points very patiently, not pulling the trigger too early. He's just really steady from the baseline. So I think
not there from the net. He just there was a net cord that set up very nice. Let me just see this again. Well, it looked like it was a net cord from Nakashima that had the ball popping up, setting up nicely for Khachanov. He had the whole court to aim for. He hits then the net cord. It goes long, and Brandon Nakashima has a first break point of the match on the Khachanov serve.
Yeah, I think I'm actually a full point behind, so I'm going to have to see this again.
Okay, right. I'll be mindful of that from now on. I could tell you the outcome if you like. Well, the scoreboard tells us what the outcome was. Nakashima has broken serve. Sorry, Vance, for the spoiler. That was a bit of a weak forehand from Khachanov. And he'll hope now, the American, to lead from the front here and not let Khachanov get any sniff of a way back into this first set. You can see the Russian is frustrated at himself is probably an understatement. But I just wanted to quickly say hello, Jake. Not seen you in a while, mate. Super Dave, I know you did say hello when you first came on. Ghost, as always, hello. Nurlan, how are we doing? And who else is here? Oh, that's us so far. So did you watch any of the? I was just saying at the start of the stream. Was it the Six Kings of Slam? I didn't watch any of it. I've got to be honest. I'm not really.
Yeah. I didn't watch any of it live. I just saw some clips on Twitter and
same as me then.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just couldn't really get into it.
It's tough.
When the stakes aren't there, it's kind of tough for me to engage in something like that. But I guess the players. I guess Sinner walked away with 6 million, and Medvedev made, I think. Like something like $50,000 a minute or something. So
I saw that somewhere online. Yeah, just a bizarre event. But hey, the players need to get paid. It was the understatement of the year. Brilliant. Okay, so back. I'm just going to read it. I'm just going to describe a couple of points because Ashley has told us that she's in the car listening to this, so she can't see any of the action. So I'll just talk you through the next couple of points. We're on the Nakashima serve. He's 30-15 up. Serves good first serve. They're good strong serve. Actually thinks he may have just crept out, but a lot of power in that. It was only just long. So he's pulling up second serve. Khachanov has stepped forward a little bit. Goes the same way. I think the first one might have just been a let because the power in that first serve took Khachanov out wide, and the +1 is put away by Nakashima. What's he like as a front runner then? Against these players, he's playing another player who's ranked higher than him in the ATP rankings. I believe Nakashima's 35 at the moment. Maybe I might be wrong on that. Something like that.
Yeah, 35 at live rankings.
35 in the line, right? Okay. Yes. Playing against somebody who's higher ranked. I know that Khachanov's 24, I think. But still somebody who's got a lot of experience. He's leading from the front here, Nakashima. Is that what he's got to focus on now? Is just make sure he can just see out these service games.
Yeah, I think make sure he just stays on top and keeps the pressure up on scoreboard pressure and holds from here. I think he's been one of the highest on tour this year in like service games won. I think I can check that, but he's pretty high up there.
Yeah, so doesn't give up many chances then in terms of break points or even conceding these service games. He does have a bit of a loopy second serve that Khachanov bounces onto, but they are within a rally. Backhand cross court by Khachanov. Now he's going to go. No, he doesn't. He goes cross court again. Khachanov getting played on the Nakashima rally racket, and he goes into the net. So we're now on juice. So yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah, so I just looked this up actually. In terms of hold percentage this year, he ranks 7th amongst top 50 players. And the players ahead of him, you have Sinner at number 1, you have Berrettini, you have Hurkacz, you have Zverev, you have Fritz, and Shelton. These are all players that are just have massive serves.
Do you know that doesn't surprise me, but which is key though, the fact that Alcaraz isn't in that top. I think he's in the top 10, Alcaraz, for that?
He's in the top 10, but he's not in the... Yeah, he's
just when you said 10. That and you started reading out the names, I was keenly listening to see if Alcaraz, because it's one part of the Alcaraz game that I'm always flagging as saying that I think he needs to work on to become really dominant as that serve. So I think you've always got a chance against Alcaraz because of the serve.
Yeah, definitely not the most. Doesn't hit his spots as well as he could right now at this point in his career, I would say.
We have a break point. Big first serve though, and the break point is saved by Nakashima. He served it out wide. A kind of block return, I suppose, from Khachanov with a bit of purchase on it. But Nakashima makes no mistake and puts away the +1 cross court. So we're back to juice number 2, I think. Whereabouts are you again in the States, Banch?
Say that again.
Whereabouts in the US are you again? Remind me.
Oh yeah, I'm from San Diego.
San Diego, cool. Yeah. How is San Diego this weather? Still warm?
Weather is great in San Diego. I mean, it's pretty sunny and warm during the day, and starting to get a little bit chillier at night. But it's
but what's your chilly, Vanch? What's your chilly? Because I'm talking like 8-9 degrees in the morning for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean it's about 10 to 12 for us here.
Not too bad. Good. Okay, Brandon Nakashima comes through, some big serving there. Comes through, so he has claimed every single game so far. 3-love to the American as the players sit down. Let me have a quick look at what the history. Okay, so it's the first meeting between these two guys. As I say, Nakashima 38 in the world. Khachanov 24. He has been at a career high number 8, Karen Khachanov. But yeah, these two players haven't faced off against each other. Nakashima, quick note, is seeking his 15th ATP Tour quarter final. He's 5-8 with 1 walkover win, and he's looking for his first above the ATP 250 level. And Khachanov is on a 5-match winning streak after capturing his 7th ATP Tour title in Almaty last week. As Vanch mentioned, he aims to reach Vienna for the Vienna quarterfinal for the 4th time. That's in 2016, 2019, and 2023. He lost all 3 of those quarterfinals to Karlovic, Schwartzman, and Medvedev. So, another chance for. What's the draw looking like for these players? I haven't had a chance to look at the Vienna draw. I could do that very quickly, but you might already know it. Do you know?
I know the winner of this match faces Berrettini, who came through against Vienna. Pretty exciting 3-hour match.
Yeah. He was playing TFO, wasn't he?
Yes. So winner of this, good opportunity, honestly, for Matteo this week. Who's who's had his injuries this year, but he's also picked up 3 titles and Stuttgart final as well, and is looking to be seeded at the Australian Open. I guess so is Nakashima in that 35 range. So.
Yeah, he's had an awful time with injury though, Berrettini, doesn't he? But he looks very stocky. He looks like a guy like he just always looks like, I don't know, this is going to sound bizarre, but it looks like somebody who's got like very thin legs, and I wonder if that's been the problem.
Yeah. He does have that similar body type that reminds me a lot of like Milos Raonic, who's another player who gets injured a ton.
Injured. Yeah. I get you. Okay, back to playing now. Khachanov in his pink top has just put a volley into the net. Nakashima clearly winning more points than he's losing at the moment, and a double break. Now, I know it's very early days in this game, but a double break, and surely he will be looking at wrapping up the first set in fairly quick time. Khachanov a wee bit out of sorts, especially on this 5-match winning streak, as I mentioned. You would think that he'll come good at some point. Hi, Gene. Who else have we got? We've got a good 100 of you guys now. So, just keep on dropping a comment if there's anything you want Vanch and I to catch up on in terms of the tennis world. The ladies there in Tokyo, did you say?
Yeah, some another WTA 500 where I think the exciting part about this one is you have Kazakhina, and I mean you have Kazakhina continuing her momentum from last week, and you also have Andreescu and Cannon still alive, and those two players are could really use something right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes it gets to this kind of stage in the year. The Grand Slams are done for 2024. There's still plenty to play for, and some players will want to be finishing this year and build a bit of momentum into the next season. You've only got to look at Jannik Sinner as the prime example of this. This time last year was when he really started to kind of dominate. He found that gear that he didn't have before. And he took it into the start of this year, and he hasn't really looked back. It's been one of those seasons, from Jannik Sinner that will go down and probably up there with the best of them.
Yeah, he has a higher than 90% win rate, which is up there with some of the best seasons of the Big Three. So it's his consistency has been really good.
Yeah.
As I see, Nakashima hits a backhand down the line winner after trading cross court with Karen.
Yeah, like a lot of baseline rallies here. I've not seen too much of Nakashima coming in to the net just yet, but I'm sure he will be using that tactic to implement it at some point.
Maybe looks to me like he feels pretty comfortable from the baseline in this one.
Exactly, because he's winning the battles, isn't he?
Yeah, and Khachanov is not the kind of player that's necessarily going to overwhelm you with pace. So you are going to have chances to work your way into these rallies.
Okay, so have we got the scoreboard up to date? Yes, we have. Okay. Good. Sorry, I had my phone where I'm watching the thing covering the comments section, so I couldn't actually see what you guys were saying. So hi there, Gene, if I haven't already said that. Good to hear from you. Just back into it. Wow. Okay, so I know that Vance, you're a little bit behind, so apologies for spoiling this. We were at 30-0. Khachanov. I don't know what that was, but it certainly wasn't any sort of drop shot that I've seen before. It was like a kind of half-hearted, sliced into the middle of the court, which Nakashima took full advantage of. Came into the net, as Vance had flagged, and Khachanov tried to go for the lob, which Nakashima aptly put away for another break point. So we have a break point for a double break. Nakashima gets his racket on the stretch for a serve down the tee, and now we're into a rally, which he looks like he's on top with. Khachanov on the run, backhand right down the middle of the court by Nakashima, forehand by Khachanov, another forehand by Khachanov, and we've got a wide, good forehand there by Nakashima. He changes direction this time. It looks like he's on top of this rally. He's my favourite at the moment. Goes down to the court, comes into the net, puts away the volley. Brandon Nakashima has the double break. 4-love. This could be a quick shift for Tom and Vance. We're at 4-love.
Yeah, I mean, just once again,
really well played. I mean that the way he's played that point, and you can let me know when you're fully up to it. But that's good experience he's got there. He's biding his time. He like you've said, he understands the type of player he's playing. To me, this is my opinion. He's looking at the way Khachanov. He knows that he's not really. He's not playing the fastest player in the world. He's not playing a flair player. He's playing a player who just likes to keep in the rally. So he's took his time. He's figured out when he's managed to work it in so that he can unleash that forehand into the corner, when he sees that Khachanov is in the corner, he comes into the net and he puts it away. So I think that's really mature.
This is one of those rallies that felt very safe and repeatable. Like he could do this over and over again, just kind of maneuvering the big Russian around and then waiting for the right opportunity to come in, and then just knocks off the volley up high on the forehand. And Khachanov can't really recover back to the middle fast enough, so he goes behind him, and it's a really good option that he has. I also like the way he opened up the court initially with the forehand, and just he has all that time and space right now because Khachanov just isn't playing imposing enough.
Yeah, an absolute dominant display so far from Nakashima. And I worry, or I suppose, what with the coaching, we've heard in the last few days, a lot of players have come out against this off-court coaching. And I suppose a good segue into this is, what would Karen Khachanov's team be telling him right now of what to change if he had access to this off-court coaching? Tell me, Vanch, what's my understanding of it is the players currently do off-court coaching if you're down at that side of the court. So what is this announcement like? What is the big difference with this announcement? Let me get my head around it. What is changing here?
I was a little bit confused at first as well, because they announced in 2022 that they were trialing on court. They were trialing the coaching in between during the matches. It was just a trial, and it wasn't announced at the end of 2022 whether this was actually going to be official.
Yeah.
So we were kind of left wondering all of last year and most of this year, the trial appeared to have been successful because clearly it's still going on. But I guess this just means that you can just you can do it in team events now. Like you can do it in Billie Jean King Cup, you can do it in Davis Cup. Yeah. Whereas I think before it was only like a change events, but now you can actually do it in between games as well, when the coach is on the same side of the net as you.
Yeah.
So I don't think it actually changes too much from what we have right now. Like I don't think it's anything really, really that different. I did actually think that it would have a bigger impact, but now all we really just see is cameras pointing to the coaches and then just saying let's go, come on. And usually it's just words of encouragement or very, very little subtle information that you can only really give in between points. Especially now, I think with the automatic shot clock, which is another thing that they've been trialing since June. Like the players are in such a rush to get to the next point already. So I'm not sure how much.
We've seen recently some big name players fall foul to the shot clock. I think Tsitsipas is the famous one. I think we have TFO as well. Did it surprise you at all in terms of the off-court coaching? Like we had Taylor Fritz come out and slam it. I think we had from a coaching.
I think a lot of the traditionalists are just generally going to be against it because they love the idea that in tennis you can problem solve on the fly on your own and without any assistance, and that's one of the beauties of the sport. So I get that sentiment completely, honestly, because that's one thing that's very unique in tennis that separates us.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well we are 5 games deep in this match, and they have all been won by Brandon Nakashima. What does I'm scared to say, but I'm scared to ask. Like, what can Karen Khachanov? I know you're where your loyalty lies, but what can Karen Khachanov, do to try and change this up and try and fight his way back into this match? Does he just concede? Set one's done. Let's go again in the set 2.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like he's playing too passive right now, and he's not on the first serve. I think he has to get the first serve percentage up a little bit, but also he needs to go for more body serves. That's one area where Brandon right now, since he doesn't tend to stand super deep behind the baseline, that could be one way to, get the ball away from his strike zone on the return. Because right now, Nakashima is having a really easy time reading Khachanov's serve and also just working his way into rallies where he's the more creative player right now. So Khachanov needs to win a few more quick points on the serve. He needs to be more assertive on the +1. Right now, he's sort of just kind of waiting for these rallies to go in his favor, but Nakashima just has too much time to do kind of whatever he wants. There's one cat and mouse point that Khachanov has won so far, but apart from that, it's all been Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, there's been no signs that there's any sort of niggling injury or anything like that from Karen Khachanov. Just maybe his races run a little bit. He's had a good run, and we all have a bad day at the office. I mean, I'm looking at the first serve points on the screen at the moment, and you're right enough, bang on there as usual, Vanch. 50% first serves in isn't good, and then when you finally get that first serve in, you're only winning half those points. So something needs to improve there, and that will be the tail of the tape as to why Khachanov is facing Love 5, although he has taken that first point.
Yeah, and Brandon has found the perfect balance between making enough first serves but also doing enough damage. Like he's 81% first serves in, and he's only lost 3 points behind it. So he's barely had to hit any second serves.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Ghost, as always, coming up with talking points, talking about the umpires and their selective interpretation of when the clock starts and what constitutes a legit serving motion, etc. It's a hot mess, and the chair umps are disturbing their punishments and distributing their punishments inconsistently. What's your thoughts on that then? I did mention the fact that there has been some high-profile shot clock violations. What's your thoughts on that, Vance? What's going on?
It's kind of a tricky one because with the automatic, shot clock starting, like it used to be that the umpires could use their discretion and see, okay, if they just played a 30-40 shot rally before, then okay, maybe we can give a few seconds before we actually start the clock, and then you have the 25 seconds. But now it's just automatic, so it doesn't matter if you finish a point at the net, and let's say the court is big, the space behind the baseline is huge, you don't have enough time to go back and get your towel and get ready sometimes. So I think that's the complaint from players, that it doesn't take into account the size of the court, the length of the rally, the where they finish the point, so that's where I think it was perhaps they would have preferred the umpire discretion, even though it was inconsistent. I think some of these players are just shocked that they're getting these time violations over and over. Like Tiafo is normally a player who plays really fast between points, but the last 4 matches he's been called for this, where I think that's part of his frustration, I would assume.
Yeah, absolutely. Khachanov, basically, sorry, just going back to the tennis one more, has won his first game of the match, and he won it to love as well. So maybe signs of what we might see in set 2 should this set end not prematurely but nice and early in the next 5 minutes, as Brandon Nakshima just gets himself set to serve for the first set. Puts the first one, I think it was a let, because it looked well into me. So let's double check this. I'll just take us through this next point or so. Again, for anyone who maybe is only listening to the watch through. So Brandon Nakashima's serve goes out wide. He gets the ball in court, mind you. The players are rallying. Brandon Nakashima probably is his weakest point of the match. I don't know if it's nerves or taking this set, but he's beaten some big hitters recently, as mentioned by Vance, some Americans, Tommy Paul, etc. But he's came into the net there, and Karen Khachanov just had to pick his spot. He had the whole court to pick from, and he went up the line with a winner. Khachanov now won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, something like 12 of the last 15 points now. So he is creeping himself back into this. Flying Yogi, how are we doing? Flying Yogi talking about Nakashima getting his first title, Vance. Could you see him, if he was to come through this with Khachanov, could you see him going all the way?
I think he certainly has a chance. It's just that I think there are probably other players that are, let's say, that have like a higher ceiling than him right now. His floor is as good as anyone here, but if, let's say, Berrettini continues serving and hitting his forehand the way he's been hitting, or Jakub Menchik, who has a ton of potential and is going to be really good very soon.
Yeah.
He's someone who's had Brandon's number this year a couple of times they played. So if he were to get through de Minaur, who's not at his best right now physically, but still finding a way to win some matches, I think getting to the quarterfinals would be the first thing. If you can win this, then I think he definitely has a shot against Berrettini, just because Berrettini you can still hold serve against, you can still work your way through find his backhand in some of the rallies, but I think it would be tough to imagine him winning the title, especially when you have Zverev, you have Mahac, you have some really good players left in this field. But he did win his first title in San Diego 2 years ago after the US Open.
Right, okay.
Made a couple of ATP finals the year before in 2021 in Los Cabos and Atlanta.
And what level is that San Diego one? Is that 250 or is it?
It's a
Is it just
250, yeah.
250?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Right. Okay. Right. Nice. Okay. So he is an ATP winner. He's still got some work to do for this first set, mind you. He was 15-30 down. Khachanov has just put an absolutely pick your spot winner into the corner up the line. His shot of the match by a country mile. So Karen Khachanov starting to feel the ball a little bit better than he has for the first half an hour of this match, and he has 2 break points to claw one of those breaks of serve back.
Yeah.
Don't know if
It
you've
was a
seen
little bit better.
that one.
Nakashima's level maybe dropping just a tad, but it was such a good start that perhaps.
Well, he just saved a break point. He saved one, I think, 2 games ago. He's just done so again with a serve down the tee. Maybe be mindful of that. I think he might be a lot like a lot of the players when they face these break points, they go for the tee serve. It does them good a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
He does it again. Actually,
this year is number 3 in break points saved, which is probably his best stat.
Absolutely. He just went down for a serve down the tee, but Khachanov has read this one, so the players are rallying. It looks like Khachanov's on top here, and he goes for it up the line. He comes to the net. Nakashima pushes him back with a lob ball. It's a smash. It's a weak smash by Khachanov. The players are rallying. They're now back to the baseline. Again, it looks like Khachanov has got the better of this rally, which you wouldn't have said 10 minutes ago when it came to these baseline rallies, but they're still going. Exciting stuff, this one. Cross-court backhand by Khachanov, sliced backhand by Nakashima, and Nakashima wins the point. Get in, son. That was the point of the match. Khachanov came into the net, but he was up to the task, Brandon Nakashima. Wait until you see this bunch. Cross-court forehand winner, and fist pump to go with it as well, because he knew how big a point that was. Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm still seeing the end of this point. It looks like he's on the dead defense here. See if he can turn this around.
There's some stats that that just tell you the story of the match. He's saved 3 out of 3 break points. Khachanov hasn't saved any of the 2 he's faced. And as I say that, a complete and utter shank, as we call it in the golfing world.
A beautiful combination, right, with the backhand slice that stayed so low, it was biting, and Khachanov had no choice but to come in on it.
Exactly. Yeah, he gave Khachanov no choice but going, right, well, I'm in no man's land here. I need to come into the net. So absolutely. Wait until you see this next one, though. From the good to the ugly, an absolute mishit by Nakashima brings up another break point for Khachanov, but he has saved it again. Well done, son. So he 4 out of 4. Back to Juice again, pulling out the big shots when they matter. That was a drive volley that Khachanov just couldn't get back. So we're back to Juice.
No surprise, as always, number 1 on this list in breakpoint saved is Yannick Sinner.
Right, well, he's had some year. Carlitos, what's he in again with the serve? I bet he'll not be in the top 10.
Yeah, and then you have Shelton at number 2 for breakpoint saved, and then Brandon is number 3. So he's ahead of Hurkacz, Rublev, and Berrettini, and Pechi Pericard.
Wow. And I think, like I say, where does Alcaraz come in that? Just to go back to my earlier point about the serve.
I think Alcaraz is like 15th or 16th on this list. He's definitely outside the top 10.
Yeah. Okay. Nakashima, set point, second serve, forehand by Khachanov return. And Nakashima's went for a drop shot, and he wins the point. Khachanov did get up to the ball just, but couldn't get the ball over the net. And he takes it 6-1 first set, Brandon Nakashima, although there are signs that Karen Khachanov will be a lot more competitive in the second set. Good start, good set of tennis. That was really enjoyable, flew by. But yeah, can you see Khachanov maybe taking this to 3 at least?
I could see, there's definitely good signs from him in the last couple of games that he's been able to impose his game a little bit more. I think he served really well down love 5, sort of freed him up. Sometimes when you have a stretch like that and you are a little bit, let's say, on fumes from the week before, you can sort of it's easier to reset and just start fresh. And I think we should have a pretty competitive second set. I'd be shocked if it was this one sided, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as somebody, Gene had said, Felix is out of sorts. Yeah, he's lost that first set 6-1, just as Khachanov has.
Oh,
Felix Auger-Aliassime, who of course loves the indoor.
yeah, I
Obviously,
see there might be some kind of injury there because he is having a medical timeout.
right. Okay.
So that does
Okay.
not look good. He badly needs the points this week, Felix, or he's gonna drop a lot.
Yeah, was it
Because
last
of
year in
those.
Vienna or Basel where he got quite far out of nowhere last year, around about now,
Yeah,
didn't he?
he won Basel last year, so
Was
he's
it
he's
right?
won
Okay. Yeah.
he's won Basel the last couple of years, so
And that
he
was
would
out
need to surpass
absolute
him.
nowhere, wasn't it? Like, it had a terrible year and they just came from nowhere and won that.
Yeah, and I think actually Felix is still 27th in the live race, so if he does lose today, I think it maybe isn't impacting him as much as I thought, but that's also because of the Madrid final. That's saving him right now in his season.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, Ghost makes a good point. Felix, in terms of potential, it was one of those, guys who was going to take over the tennis world at one point, faded a little bit. He doesn't really come into the conversations when we talk about Grand Slams at all. I get Ghost's point. He's probably overrated, but probably just because of what we all saw when he was a young man. When he was a very young man, he's still a young man, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, he had this really good breakthrough in 2019, and he was achieving all those youngest ever stats, like in challengers and ATP matches, and he kind of got everyone's attention. But I would say since the end of 2022, it hasn't been nearly as good as what most people were thinking. Obviously, he's a bit of an indoor court specialist, and there's certain surfaces and conditions where he's just going to have more chances to do well. But haven't seen him make those necessary improvements that he would need to, particularly like on his backhand, for instance, which I think is still a bit of a dodgy shot. And then just in general, when he gets really tight in some of these matches, I don't think he's quite figured out how to win at like on a bad day or an average day, which is pretty
Yeah,
huge. But when he's firing on all cylinders and it's indoors and he's serving really well and he's feeling it, then he's obviously going to be a threat. But
yeah,
right now he's struggling to bring that consistency overall.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean when Felix is, like you say, firing, he is one of the top ground stroke. He has one of the top ground strokes on the tour, but it's just like getting that consistency. And people find weaknesses in his game as well these days. 15, a wee bit of pressure from Nakshima. He did have love 15, but Karen Khachanov having a chat with his box at the moment to figure out what to implement to try and turn this one around. Deluded Steve, as you can see, Vanch has to be absolutely thrilled with this first set. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it was a very complete set overall in terms of his level. You can see he's very confident right now and believes that he can keep pushing for the top 30.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, where is he, like, potentially, if he was to win a title here this week? Does it tell us on the live? I mean, I could pull it up on the
Oh, if he wins a title, he would go up quite a bit. I think if he wins this match, he would be
top
at
30.
yeah, he'd be at 34. I mean, because him
Right.
and Berrettini's win yesterday got him up like 3 spots. But if he wins the title, oh, he would be at about 24, 23 actually. 23 in the
Wow.
world if he wins the title.
Probably one of the hottest players on the tour at the moment. He goes for a drop shot. Khachanov reads it this time. He's there in plenty of time, but it means that the court is all open for Brandon Nakashima. Tries to go for the lob. Goes a little bit long, and it's Karen Khachanov who starts off set 2 with a hold of serve. So, he's on the scoreboard. Deluded Steve, can Nakashima contend for a Masters 1000, Vanch? I think you're maybe going to say maybe it's a bit early, or maybe he's a year or so out from really going deep in those ones. But Vanch, Deluded Steve thinks that he can maybe do it.
Well, I think it's going to be tough with current group of guys, but he's made strides in it this year. He made 3 round of 16s, yet to make a quarterfinal. So if he's able to do that and get his ranking up, then it'll be potentially easier to keep making consistently round of 16 and quarters, and then after that, then he would be in the mix. If suppose, especially because some of the 1000s can be a bit random. If let's say one of Sinner or Alcaraz loses, there's always a chance in the draw. So
yeah, I suppose,
never,
like you say,
never, but it's
that's why sometimes I like these events over the next week or so, just because Alcaraz and Sinner are becoming so dominant. It's sometimes good to like have those players out because it gives others a chance to make a deep run. So yeah, I think for me, similar to you, I don't see Nakashima troubling these guys. I think he's maybe got another year or so to really keep on developing. And you never know. You never know. I mean, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and we sometimes think, that Sinner and Alcaraz are going to dominate for the next 15 years or so, but we don't know what's around the corner. There could be another player fight that's maybe 15 that's, better than the two of them. You just don't know what's around the corner. So, yeah, that's why we love tennis. Every year there's a new player who'll try and make his mark on the tennis scene, the tennis landscape.
Yeah, right now it's still kind of an open question of who's going to be that third guy, right? Behind Sinner and Alcaraz too.
Yeah,
them.
Yeah, I don't think Holger Rune is going to do it.
Yeah, we would have said Rune at the end of 2022 and even middle of 2023, but since then, I mean, he's really not separated himself from Feast or Draper or Mahach or some of these other guys who are. I think Feast as well.
I think Feast, if he can stay fit, Feast, I think he could make a charge. I mean, you talked about
Feast for me has one of the highest ceilings. I mean, the 2 500s that he won this year and the fashion that he was able to win it. I mean, yeah, very impressive. He doesn't have the consistency week in, week out, but my goodness.
What about Mencic?
For me, I'd probably say Mencic or Fonseca. Those would be my pick for the third guy.
Yeah, Fonseca.
Fonseca right now, is only like 17, but I mean, you watch the way he strikes the ball off both wings, and it reminds me a lot of Yannick Sinner, the explosive power, and then also the way he moves as well on the stretch. And I've seen him put together some really good matches already at like Davis Cup, or when he made his run in Rio, like he just demolished Feast. Like there were just some matches today where
I commentated in that match.
Sounds different. Like you hear the ball coming off of his racket, you're like, wow, this is something special.
Yeah. No, I can remember doing that match, and as much as Arthur Feast did seem a bit out of sorts, it was some display from the young man. Okay, cool. So, although Ghost is asking if we all given up on Rune, I just think he's managed pretty bad. I think he's falling behind a little bit. Same as Vance. When I watched that 2022 Masters win at the end of the year, I was like, couldn't wait to see this guy come back for the Aussie Open, and I just haven't seen him hit the heights from that kind of 6 month period. And he can have like a couple of good wins and then he falls away a little bit. So
yeah, I think he's just struggling as well with like stability in his coaching corner because he keeps he's not really finding that balance of like working with Lars Christensen and Patrick Mouratoglou, and he's kind of been going back and forth. And he's been played through some injuries as well. Kind of, I feel like he has so many tools in his game. He's so talented, Rune, but I think he hasn't quite figured out the formula to win points outright yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to what Super Dave's saying. Rune doesn't know who he is as a player. He just plays, but has no identity. I suppose that's exactly what Vance is saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, back to the tennis. It's 1-1. Brandon Nakashima did get himself on the scoreboard.
But huge, I would say huge opportunity for him this week, because if he does do well, it's always been indoors and in the clay swing in general. So if you can win Basel, get to the final or something, maybe keep that momentum going towards the end of the year, like he did last year. He made the semis of Basel, quarters of Paris, still finished top 8. So I think still open for him, but
yeah. And Ghost, I don't disagree with you in terms of the parent-child thing in pro tennis. it's always been a bit of a funny one, that, isn't it? Just look at the Tsitsipas's. That's a prime example of when it doesn't work. So, yeah, Dominic Stricker, that's who Holger Rune beat today, isn't it? He beat him in two. Was it 2 tie breaks or 1 tie break in 6-3 or something?
Yeah, 6-3, 7-6. I think he was
Yeah.
down a break in the second set, but came back and won. So
Okay, Khachanov serving, definitely serving better. I'll have a quick look at these stats.
oh yeah, definitely.
He's up
First
to
serve percentage is
67%.
way up.
And points on 67% as well. So yeah, definitely getting a grip on this one. He's 40-15. I'll just take us through this point here. And there we go again. So served down the tee, only found the net by Nakashima, and we are 2-1 with serve on in the second set as the players sit down for a well-earned rest. Actually, I'm just grabbing a drink. Is there? Let's have a quick check. There's not another match in Vienna tonight, is there? In terms of after this one, I think this is the last one.
Yeah, this is the final match today.
Yeah. Okay, and that'll be the quarterfinal for both. Again, these matches are mirror images of each other because it looks like Felix Auger-Aliassime has starting to try and fight back a little bit. Definitely address whatever the problems have been, but yeah, 43 minutes. This one's 49 minutes. The exact same scoreline in both matches. Mirror images. The favoured player probably going into it as well. Currently losing or currently trailing. So yeah.
Yeah, he seems to be struggling with a back injury, as Gene pointed out in the chat.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Hasn't retired yet, so I guess maybe he can sort it out. But let's see. Pericard is another exciting player who it's he
really
goes
is
for
he
first serves, which is something unique.
I was about to say, is he really not just all about the serve? I can just remember him at Wimbledon, just serving his way through rounds.
Yeah, and then he won the title in Lyon as well, where I mean, he continued to serve just as well, but I think he managed to finally. He's kind of, for his height, he's a decent-ish mover. He's like 6'8", so it's always going to be tough. But I think on the clay, when he has a bit more time and he gets a few more short balls, he can be a bit better. Kind of like some of the tall players when they play on a slower court, they can do a little bit more damage. So we'll see. I think clay and grass is going to be good for him generally.
Yeah, you could probably get away with that in a career, couldn't you? Just playing the serving in the clay and the grass, and just getting yourself a decent wee career out of it, I suppose.
Yeah,
just avoid the hard courts.
He also has the slice as well. He reminds me a lot of Chris Eubanks actually, but that kind of game style isn't going to be the most conducive to deep runs every week, but
yeah,
it'll be exciting.
Okay, 15 love, Brendan Nakashima. He just went for a serve down the tee, which hasn't found the spot, so he is. So he's going for round 2 here.
Yeah, of course. Today, yes, we had Mahach beat Dimitrov, which Francisco was talking about. Mahach, yeah, he's been having some really good wins this year. Beats Djokovic, Alcaraz, Rublev, and now Dimitrov. But he's also another guy with a really, really high peak level. Like, I've watched some matches of him this year, and I've just been blown away by his hand skills, his athleticism, his speed. The backhand is what really stands out. The backhand down the line as well, like the way he can just generate pace off of nothing balls that Dimitrov was giving him, like just slow slices with no pace, and this guy is just going down the line with them and changing directions at will. So
yeah, I mean, one caveat to that would be the Jack Draper match in the US Open.
Yes, I was just going to say that was an absolute stinker from him. Like, he just didn't show up that day, and now he has a chance to redeem himself against Jack tomorrow, which should be a good match, because actually I was expecting a lot coming into that fourth round US Open match. I mean, Mahach was up 3-0 in the head-to-head coming into that fourth round against Draper, but it was just a really puzzling performance from him, and Jack played well. Obviously, he played pretty well throughout the whole US Open, but yeah, it was just a performance where I just didn't really understand. Something was clearly bothering Mahach.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe like you say, there might be something else going on there. Pretty pretty wild there. Brandon Nakashima, 3 game points. Tried to go for the serve and volley. Khachanov gets a lot of purchase on the return, so much so that Brandon Nakashima has to let it bounce and then try and stretch for this return, and he just pulls it off absolutely exquisitely. It was some shot. I think he even surprised himself because it was unreturnable. So well played, Brandon. So we're back on to 2-0, and we're on the Khachanov serve. He's posh Scottish, deluded Steve.
Yeah.
Very proper Scottish.
That's a good hold for Brendan, who has been under pressure in his last couple of service games, but gets the hold there.
Yeah, much.
That was a
much
very exquisite shot there to finish at love. Oh, that backhand half volley.
Yeah, absolutely, fella. Absolutely. So, yeah, Karen Khachanov is just need to make sure that he doesn't kind of let the. Oh, I've not got the stats on. My bad. He doesn't. He just has to make sure he doesn't let Nakashima dominate the serve like he did in the early part of the first set. It's a really good return by Nakashima, and Khachanov does exactly what I was just saying he should be doing. He's managed to nip that in the bud quite early in the rally, puts away a cross-court winner, and yeah, it's 15-0.
Yeah. Clearly, also Nakashima's recognized that the slice is a good play in this matchup as well. I've noticed Khachanov in general, he kind of just struggles to come, to generate topspin when the ball is like below his knees. Just like kind of an uncomfortable position for him. Like I've seen this against Dimitrov, against Musetti, players who rely on that backhand slice to break the contact point a little bit. Khachanov with the extreme grip that he has, extreme Western grip, it's a little bit tougher for him to get underneath it, but
Miss-hit return by Nakashima. The plus one is put away by Khachanov. So looking like we're going to be going with serve at the next sit down as well.
But then you look at this point at love 15, and then you see Khachanov has the forehand that he can just crank because it's like shoulder height. It's right in his strike zone.
Yeah.
So
he ended it early.
That. And I think his best major is Roland Garros, where he's made a couple of quarterfinals. Of course, he had he's been like very consistent at Roland Garros, like always making fourth round quarters. And then he had.
Did he make the semis at the US Open, or was it the quarters at the US Open?
Semis of US and semis of Australia. Both.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, that famous match against Kyrgios, which was kind of the last time that we saw Kyrgios actually at the US Open.
Just ghost on a totally unrelated matter to tennis. Kevin Bridges is from Clydebank, and that's where I work. So, yeah, just to let you know that. Didn't think I'd be speaking about Big Kev today. Right, so we're at 40-15. In fact, Karen Khachanov has a good ghost, or good deluded Steve, a very funny man. Karen Khachanov sits down at 3-2 to the good. He does a fist pump to his box. He's feeling it. He's not giving up this one. As I said, he's made the quarter final in Vienna on 3 previous occasions, losing every single one. So he'll be hoping to get back there and with a real chance against Matteo Berrettini, who is playing some good tennis as well, though. So it's quite a wide open event, this one. I mean, without even checking, who would have been the number 1 seed for this one, Vanch? Do you know?
Yeah, it's Zverev.
It's Zverev, of course. He's number 3 in the world, isn't he? Or number 4, is he now? Number 3?
Number 3, actually. And if he wins this, he would be 5 points ahead of Alcaraz for number 2 in the race. So,
nice.
So I guess we could have a race for year-end number 2.
Yeah,
or maybe actually that'll be interesting because that'll also tell us what the groups are for Turin. If Zverev finishes ahead of Alcaraz before Turin, and then he succeeded second, then we could have Sinner and Alcaraz in the same group.
How does it go? Does it go? What does it go? 1, 4, 6, and 1, 4, 5, and 8.
Yeah, but the 1 and 2 can't be in the same group, of course, and 7 and 8 can't be in the same group. Or I mean, can't be in the same Yeah, can't be in the same group. So
Same round robin, yeah. That'll be good. Always like that time of the year as well. I like that event. Very high quality matches. So
yeah, the last couple of years it's been really really fast hard courts, where it's just been a servers contest, a lot of the servers paradise, I should say, where it's just we've seen like a lot of 7-6, 7-5s. Just really really ice lightning quick conditions. Like kind of an outlier actually. There's not really an event that's that fast. Maybe Cincinnati, but indoors certainly it's the fastest event you'll see all year.
So who's there already? So we've got Sinners there, Alcaraz there, Zverev's there, Medvedev's there. Number 5, we've got Taylor Fritz. Djokovic is more than likely going to make
I
it.
think Taylor Fritz is pretty safe. I think he's
Yeah.
probably going to get it. But then it comes down to Ruud, Rublev, Djokovic. We don't even know if he's going to play. I mean, his season could have been done by now. So
I mean,
if
he says
doesn't play,
that
that
because
would help him.
it's funny how he said that he wasn't interested in the finals when he was like not looking like he was going to make it, and then now that
Yeah.
he's in with a shot, I mean, I'll bet my house that he'll be there.
We'll see, though. Actually, I'm not that sure because he's at risk of falling out by not playing Paris. He's at risk of maybe potentially dropping out of the top 8. So originally, I thought
Yeah.
maybe he would just want to play Belgrade, try to get the 100th title, and then just prepare for the Australian Open. But no idea.
Yeah, I
really.
mean, you don't make the finals. Where does he fall down in the rankings? And then you've got harder draws at these Grand
Yeah.
Slams. So
certainly he has to make sure that he's in the top 12 because if he's 13, then he's good. Then he could face Sinner or Alcaraz in the 4th round. But if he finishes 5 through 8, or he finishes 9 through 12, then he's going to face them in the quarters no matter what. So,
yeah, and you're really realistically you're looking at. Well, I suppose you could argue Wimbledon. He's made the final the last 2 years, but I was going to say, realistically, Australia's usually his more bankable Grand Slam. I mean, he doesn't need it. He's completed tennis with that Olympic one, I suppose. But I suppose he'll want to make sure that nobody can have a hope of ever catching him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really he's seen both his rivals retire, and then now he's sort of gotta get himself motivated for these tournaments again when he's won everything like at least 3 times. It's kind of a very unique position that he finds himself in.
Early favourite for the Australian Open, just the obvious ones, Sinner, Alcaraz.
Yeah.
I called Alcaraz winning the French, I think the year before. I think after that semi-final the year previous against Djokovic, I said Alcaraz will come back and win that French. I think the fact that he hasn't won Australia yet, I think that will be a big event for him. So I think I'm going to go with Alcaraz just because he hasn't won it before, but Sinner's obviously going to be the favourite in terms of the fact that he's been there and he's won it. He's comfortable there. Alcaraz got beat by Zverev last year and looked a wee bit out of sorts, so and really struggled to get going for after he then injured himself. I think it was in Rio. So it took a while to get going, but I think he'll be going all guns to try and take this Australian Open to complete the calendar slam.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, Khachanov is really making a push in this random service game, and he's got 3 break points.
Sorry, I did see that. Yes, good point. Although, like you said, Nakashima's so good at saving break points, but he has saved one of them. We're still rallying for the second one. It's Khachanov who's on top of this rally. It looks like he's going to break serve. He's pushed him into the corner. He's come into the net, lobbing backhand. And would you believe it? The smash that Khachanov was going to put away to break serve hits the top of the net and goes wide. So we are 1 left on the Nakashima. This will be I think 7 from 7 he will have saved.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that part yet, Vanch, but
I've seen the first breakpoint save where Khachanov tries to go for the forehand down the line, but he's so far outside the court.
Yeah, second one's even more ridiculous. So here we go. Take 3. Oh, I think that was a let. So we're going to have another big Brandon Nakashima serve. Second serve goes down the tee, so it's going to be pretty open here. It could go anywhere, going in the middle. Yeah, it goes to the body. Looping wasn't really a kick serve, but he had a bit of top on it. But the players that are rallying now at the moment, they're just going cross court with their forehands. Nakashima changes up by going down the line, backhand cross court by Khachanov in response. It looks like Khachanov's on top of this one, but bites back by Brandon Nakashima. They're going cross court with their forehands. Another long busting rally. It's a swipe of a forehand by Khachanov, which is then put down the line by Nakashima. He looks like to be on top of them. He just needs to put him away. Good defense by Khachanov. Backhand again by the Russian. Slice backhand by Khachanov. Oh, that one just made it over the net, and Khachanov wins it with a forehand into the corner. Rally of the match. He puts his finger to his ear, as all the players do when they win a big point, and he breaks serve 3-1. That was the rally of the match. Wait until you see this one, Vanch.
Yeah, seems like it was at least 20-25 shots.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, finish and a half. Just guided it into the corner, and it just finds the line.
Good defending by Khachanov with those squash shots.
Yeah, that's what I mean, the swipe. Okay, 4-2, Khachanov.
Oh my goodness! Wow, yeah, that's the only shot he really could go for there because it was so awkward.
But he pulled it off, to be fair.
Yeah.
He needs to consolidate now, and Nagashima's not going anywhere. He's still within these rallies, and he's got the first point off the game. Really good defense by Nakashima, forces the error by Karen Khachanov.
Yeah.
Hi, Cian, how are we doing? He says Karen Khachanov is the biggest pusher in the top 30. So boring to watch. But Ghost has told him, no, that will always be Zverev's title. Do you want to explain it? I mean, I'm aware, but do you want to explain to people who might not know what they mean by pusher? It's just somebody what keeps the ball in the court, isn't it?
Yeah, somebody who kind of just makes a lot of balls, doesn't really go for much offense, just kind of wears you down with just consistency, I suppose. But for me, it's more of a term for like rec players and club players. I think the players of this caliber are mostly hitting the ball really big. So
yeah,
I think fair point. Them, but
fair point. Good return by Brandon Nakashima, straight on top of the Khachanov. I don't know if it was a first serve. It looks to me if it was maybe a second serve, but Nakashima right on top of that one. Let me just see it in the replay. Guessed right, took it early. Khachanov couldn't find his feet, and it is 15-30. A bit of pressure to try and get this break back. Again, he's on it early, guess right. But this time Khachanov has got himself ready, and he puts away a lovely winner. He loves that outside or inside out forehand, and he wins another point with it. So we're at 30 all. Really well played by Karen Khachanov. Oh, was that? Oh, that looked long to me, but I mean, I'm assuming we've got electronic line calls, so it's not been called, but so it must have been in. That's the long and short of it. It looked wide to me, but who knows?
Nakashima really connecting on that return forehand cross court winner at 15-all. I guess now we'll see the point at 15-30.
Is that how far you are behind, man?
Yeah,
I do it.
I'll just like refresh it.
I do it these days. My kind of cheat code is to do it through, and I know you can't probably do that in the US, but we have like betting apps like Bet365, and and because people can watch it through the app, the betting app, and because it has to be as like up to date live as possible, so they can place bets, I just go into that and watch the tennis that way. You don't get any commentary, which is fine because if I'm doing it, it doesn't really matter. But I didn't have a bet, Dara. I just used the Bet365 to watch the tennis. So, and it's like as up to date as possible. It's probably just happened and I'm getting to see it. So that's why I'm a little bit ahead of Vanch, and a little bit ahead of Nakashima is Karen Khachanov, 5-2. He consolidates that break of serve, and he's only one game away from tying up this match at one set apiece. guys have been playing for what, about an hour and 5 minutes? Oh yeah, there we go. So an hour and 6 minutes. Took Karen Khachanov at 2-1 just before the break. I like it, Dara. You were saying that there was a change in momentum. Banch, tell me then. We've spoken previously about the fact that you've played near or against Nakashima. Will this be a sore one? Like, I'm not, I'm not saying he's death warrant right now. I'm not putting the nail in his coffin. But should Karen Khachanov turn this around and change the flow and the momentum of this match, will this be a tough one to take for Brandon Nakashima, or can he go away and say, I've had a decent run here in Vienna?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I think he would still be seeking that first quarterfinal into 500. So this would be like 2 quality wins back to back against Paul and Khachanov, two top 30 players. But look, he's still well in this match. He's still in a lot of these service games. He did do well to save the first 2 break points at 2-3. Perhaps got a little bit careless on the first couple of points in that game, but that's really kind of all it takes. We already kind of saw the momentum shifting at the end of the first set anyway. It was kind of unrealistic to expect that Nakashima would just serve at such a high clip like he did to get to 5-love in the first set. So now he's kind of come back down to earth. But I think now it's just a matter of regrouping, taking care of what he can control. And so far, I mean, I'm still liking the way he's constructing a lot of these points. And I like it when he's being more assertive, coming forward, finishing. He's got a good read on Khachanov's serve. So I don't really see this. I see this being pretty open and 50-50 now.
Yeah, it's probably more 50-50. Brandon Nakashima will just be looking to get this, close the gap, shall we say, a little bit, and put some pressure on Khachanov to serve this one out. He just went up the line, came into the net, puts away the smash, 15-love. I think Novak's playing Paris-Bercy though, isn't he?
No, he's not. So
Is he not?
what. Yeah, he just pulled out of Paris.
Right. Okay. When was that? Was that recently? Was that in the last week?
Yeah, a couple of days ago.
Ah, right. Okay. I thought he'd said Shanghai, Paris-Bercy, and then that was him. But there you go.
I think. Yeah, Shanghai might have been his last tournament of the year.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so players are rallying. 30-love Nakashima. He comes into the net. Both players are at the net this time. Stretch, volley by Khachanov. Tweener by Nakashima. And then the next volley is put away by Khachanov. 30-15. Entertaining match, though. Good match.
Yeah.
We've really sparked something with this pusher chat. Daniel Medvedev now being thrown into the mix. An elite level pusher. Don't think Vanch agrees.
No.
Big serve by Nakashima, gets it with a slice on the stretch, and Khachanov putting the pressure on here again. It's 30-all. Nakashima goes into the net, but it looks like Karen Khachanov, when he's rushing Nakashima and he's not giving him much time on the ball to make a decision. He was coming into the net there. Nakashima looked panicked, and that resulted in the error into the net. Is that what you're seeing, the difference in this second set, Vanch?
Yeah, I'm just seeing in general, Khachanov is playing closer and inside the baseline. He's taking more chances. He's coming forward a bit more when he sees the opportunity. He's not forcing it, but he's coming in at opportune times. But mostly he's just hitting a bit bigger. I think the miles per hour has gone up. He's making more first serves. Just kind of playing at a higher level, like overall, just in general, his level is picked up.
Yeah, absolutely. Nakashima sees of this game with two down the tee serves. Yeah. One of them was a second serve ace. Two down the tee.
Definitely ace. Rushing the Brandon forehand a bit more, which is the side that's more prone to being rushed, and then you can make him defend on the backhand. And Nakashima doesn't really want to be defending a ton. I mean, he's a good mover, but he's not like an elite mover. So that's definitely something that Khachanov is trying to exploit as well. but those serves are keeping him in it right now, like that ace down the tee at 30-all.
Yeah, okay. So Khachanov now serving to make it 1-all. He's just won the first point with another winner down the line from wide off the tram line. So good backhand that.
All right, a pair of aces at 30-all.
Yeah, I'm sure one of them was a second serve, maybe second serve ace, which I thought was a bit something to flag.
Yeah.
Good serve by Khachanov. Can't be returned by Nakshima. We're at 30 love. Two points from the second set, and he wins that one with an ace. Cam Khachanov definitely for me looking like the favourite at the moment in time. He's 3 point, well, he's 1 point, but he's got 3 game points, 3 set points from tying up this match.
Yeah, I would say that's deserved. He's been the better player this set.
And he takes it with a strong serve out wide. It goes long, and Karen Khachanov and Brandon Nakashima, will go the distance, one set apiece. The tail of the tape, 6-1, very dominant early display by Nakashima. Karen Khachanov a little bit out of sorts, but parity has been restored, and Karen Khachanov, the favourite before the match, saw a ball struck in anger, has levelled it up at 6-3. So we will go to a decider. Heart saying Khachanov, head saying heart saying Nakashima, head saying Karen Khachanov at all, Vance? No?
Yeah, I think so, pretty 50-50. I think based on what we've seen, obviously Khachanov has the momentum right now, but still only just one point really that made that difference at 30-40 at 3-2. Khachanov definitely has picked up his level to his credit, serving much bigger, hitting the ball with more authority from the baseline and opening up the court better, rushing Nakashima's forehand, coming into the net at opportune times, and just reading the plays a bit better, looks more engaged overall. But we'll see. Definitely Brandon is serving first, so he's got to make sure that he applies that scoreboard pressure, and he kind of just, if I look at the difference between the first and the second set, you see way more winners for Khachanov in the second set. Overall, just a very clean set of tennis. 14 winners to 6 unforced. Nakashima not bad either, with 8 winners and 4 unforced. But Khachanov just winning more points from the baseline as well, being more dominant on his first serve, getting more unreturned serves. So it's been a big shift, I think, mostly in the serving that's made this level off.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the players just going to start set 3. How is Felix going on? Is that still going, or do they have to withdraw with injury? Oh, he's still going into the second set, making a fight of it, 6-5. The Perica is serving to stay in the second set, so that one might be going on a little longer as well. Elsewhere, who's that in Stricker? Stricker just played out on the doubles court in Basel against Arthur Feast and Ben Shelton. And as you can see, loads of doubles going on in the challengers as well. And the ladies in Tokyo will be kicking off overnight, I would think, or early tomorrow morning for me.
Yeah, and actually news just coming from Simon Graf, who's a Swiss journalist, and he says that Stan Wawrinka confirms to me after his match today against Ben Shelton in Basel that he will continue on the ATP Tour in 2025.
Wow, I thought you were going to say the opposite there. I thought you were about to reveal that Stan Wawrinka is retiring live on air, but no. Okay, so he's going to be around for 2025.
His last couple of good weeks in Stockholm and Basel this week, where he's picked up 4 wins. My prediction before this would have been, I think Roland Garros will be his last tournament. That would have been my prediction, but now it looks like he's keen to keep on playing, and I mean, why not? Let the one-hander live on. But also but also he's clearly able to still win some matches. So
yeah, I love Stan. Stan's cool. Yeah. What age is he now? 37, 36?
No. He'll be 40 in March.
Wow, Jesus, right, okay.
He just became
That's
the oldest
crazy.
player to win a match in Basel. He just surpassed Roger Federer in that stat. So
No, right, okay. I didn't know he was that old. I thought he was always around about the same as the others. Okay, right. So, right,
no,
wow,
he's a,
that's
he's a year older than Rafa and 2 years older than Novak and Andy. So he's he was also one of those late bloomers because he won his slams at between like 29 and 31.
35. Yeah, okay, cool. Right, okay. Well, you heard it here first, guys. Stan Wawrinka will be playing in the tour next year, which is good news for any tennis fan. Always fun to watch his matches. Go and Stan, 40 years old and playing on the tour in March. Come March, he will be. So I'm older than Stan Wawrinka. I was 40 this time last week. I was last Wednesday. So me and Stan, right? Okay, cool. Right, okay, right. I was coming to terms with the news. The Stan Wawrinka is 39, turning 40. Nakashima, 40 love on his serve, like that. And he plays it into the corner there and up the tee. He is dominating this point, and I think Khachanov just gave up, had a wild swing at the backhand with it, and we're 1 love. Nakashima, well played, son. Yeah, what age is good point by Dara there? What age is marrying Cilic?
Cilic is 36. So
Is he?
Yeah, he and RBA are both born in 1988.
Right, there you go. Thanks, Ghost. Thank you, Ghost.
Yeah,
Not that I was fishing, but
nice to see both of them win a title as well. So
yeah,
both RBA and Cilic winning a title post US Open.
Yeah, always been a fan of Batista Agut. Yeah, I've always just liked the way he goes about his play. Okay. Okay, so what else is happening then? Felix Auger-Aliassime, Pericard has game point in that one. This one's going with serve so far. We've just had 3 breaks of serves overall. 1 from Khachanov in set 2, 2 from Nakashima in the first. So I just need to send a quick message, Vanch. Right, okay. 30 love, Karen Khachanov. Sorry, just had to send a quick message that I received. Thanks, Super Dave. Is that why you're buttoned up? No, I like to wear my polo shirts. You know what? You're right. All right. The working day is finished. So there we go. There we go. Nice and casual Tom. Okay, I'm only 18. I don't understand what you decrepit seniors are talking about. Speak for yourself, Ghost. Speak for yourself, fella. Okay, right. So back to the tennis. I don't think there's been a point won against the serve because Khachanov has 3-game point here. Puts the first serve wide of the tram. Reloads. Goes down the tee this time with the second serve. Nakashima knocks the ball with a block return into the crowd. We have 1 game apiece. I think these guys are looking to get off court pronto because this match is, maybe I'm wrong. How long are we on it for? It's probably about an hour and a half, but I feel like it's raced by. An hour and 21. There you go. Not a slow match. 3 sets of tennis. Ghost, I did talk about Naked Thursdays one time in a stream. Who was on me? There was a boy on me. It was the first time he'd been on it, and I was telling him that we did Naked Thursdays on the Talking Tennis stream, and John texted me going, "Shut up." So there you go. Right, back to tennis. Double fault by Nakashima. Is that the first one of the match?
Should be.
Yeah, well, they've won a piece now. Yeah, first one for Nakashima of the match. In any case, is that a sign of anything? Tiredness, fatigue, stress, pressure, running out of gas. If you drink enough, it either kills you or bams you. Roll the dice. The Dice Man. You ever read that? Great book. Nakashima under pressure now. We're facing Love 30 for Brandon. Just looks like Karen Khachanov. Since he got that break, he's just been in charge of the majority of the points. That was the only reason that you hung about, Super Dave. I think that was one of the first streams that you came on to, and I told you about Naked Thursdays, and then boom, it's never materialised. Brandon Nakashima comes into the net. Oh, Karen Khachanov. He could have picked his spot. He's went long, or he's went wide and long. Nakashima's a little bit no man's land. Didn't time that coming into the net right at all, and he got lucky there.
Yeah, a little bit tame that forehand, so in a spot to bother now at Love 30.
Yep. Karen Khachanov is at the top of his game. It's the reason why he won a title last week, and it's the reason why he's on a 5-match winning streak. Again, Brandon Nakashima, maybe with tiredness, has come into the net there, and Karen Khachanov has read it all day long. He's just waited until he saw the approach and just picked the spot down the line. We're at 15:40. We have 2 break points for Karen Khachanov early in this third set. Block return by Khachanov. Back down the line by Nakashima, which is the right choice because Khachanov goes wide with his forehand. He'll be frustrated there. He was right in the middle of a kind of streaky flow of points there. He has a second opportunity to do so. Brandon Nakashima.
The approach shot was just not good enough from Brandon at 15:30.
Yep.
Just kind of came in, but Khachanov is throwing in some different looks now with some of these junkier kind of balls, like chip returns, forehand chip returns, backhand slices. So he's also kind of forcing Nakashima out of his comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah, well done, Brandon Nakashima, showing those and me watching that he hasn't finished yet. He just, to me, he's looked like his race has run a little bit, if I'm being honest. He's had a lot of decent wins recently, and maybe all the match time is catching up on him, but he's fought off those 2 break points. Solid save there, coming into the net at the right time this time and putting away a nice volley. He comes into the net again, and oh my word. Wait until you see this, Fanch. Wait until you see this. So he's tried to go for the serve volley at deuce, and you don't see that often. He's completely swinging a miss, a forehand +1 to the corner. So we have breakpoint Karen Khachanov again. Fault. So we have a second serve.
Hope to be back live in Basel.
And Karen Khachanov has just secured the break of serve. Is this the end zone for Brandon Nakashima? It's 2-1 Karen Khachanov. He gets the second break of serve of the match, and he is leading this third set decider for a place in the quarterfinal in Vienna.
Well, I've just seen the forehand width.
Yeah. Would I be wrong to say that maybe Brandon Nakashima is just feeling that a little bit, maybe feeling a little bit fatigued as his race run?
I mean, the average rally length has definitely been longer in this match, and Khachanov is more used to this style of tennis, that's for sure. But in terms of fatigue, he shouldn't be the one fatigued. It should be Khachanov, if
Should be-
anything, but Khachanov is definitely a
He'll
beast
do
when he
this all
can-
day though, Karen Khachanov. He could do this all day. Think about him and Dan Evans. He can he'll stay out there as long as he wants. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Elsewhere, just quickly looking at your screen at the moment, Felix Auger-Aliassime and Pericard are 6-all, 6-all. So 6-all in the tie break, the second set tie break. Felix looking to put that one into a decider as well.
Yeah. Of course, Nakashima forced to hit a second serve there, break point down, but Khachanov kind of had all day with the forehand there to bounce, and good move to the net. But yeah, overall, it's just been too good from Khachanov really for the last set and a half.
Yep. I mean, the tennis is a sport of momentum, and he's definitely got the momentum at the moment.
But yeah, the whiff on at deuce was definitely going to be costly.
Yeah, because
He kind of had the right idea with the serve. I didn't mind the play as well with the serve and volley because Khachanov's been chipping the forehand return, so it seemed like a good play. But once he kind of got caught in that no man's land zone and then had to whiff the forehand, that was a bit costly there.
Okay, so 2-1, Karen Khachanov. All he needs to do now is hold his serve. And as I say that, +1, good return on the second serve by Nakashima. And the +1 backhand by Khachanov meekly goes into the middle of the net. So we have love 15. I have on this channel, on this stream, on many occasions over the year and a half that I've been involved, I've made a bold prediction only to be usurped in the very next game. So, as an old journalist in this country says, I stumble from one mistake to another without any loss of enthusiasm. And that'll be me as well. So 15-0, down the tee serve by Khachanov. Block return goes long.
Also, Khachanov, since the start of the second set, has not been pushed to deuce on his serve.
Yeah, I've thought that it's been fairly run of the mill stuff from Karen Khachanov. I mean, considering after the first set it was 50%, he was getting his first serve in the court, so yeah, it's been a decent turnaround. It just shows you he's an experienced player. You don't often get Karen Khachanov in bad day at the office. You know, if you're going to beat Karen Khachanov, you're going to have to earn that win on more occasions than not.
Yeah, absolutely. He brings a certain floor to the table that's pretty high. And if you're, an elite player with a ton of weapons, then you're kind of able to pass it. But he asks a really high level of his opponents because he's physically really tough, and he can grind you down in these types of baseline exchanges. But also, he can serve his way out of trouble. He's certainly got the ability to change the momentum of the matches we're seeing here. So. Yep, 7 titles on the tour for Khachanov so far.
Yeah.
Obviously, the biggest one being Paris in 2018, but
I like Karen Khachanov.
He's won 2 titles this year, and then one at the end of last year as well. So,
it comes to with every player, but I was going to ask, could you ever see Khachanov going further than just maybe a semi-final at Slam? Could he be? I suppose with Sinner and Alcaraz and Djokovic still around, it's very hard to see a Grand Slam with all three, fail early or don't make a final, and if they make a final, they're always going to be the favourite. I'm trying to say Karen Khachanov, his career, when he sits back, has a nice vodka at the end of his career, will he look back and think, I achieved all I could achieve, or will he be sitting there with an itch saying I could have maybe went further in the Grand Slams?
I don't think so. I think the Grand Slams have been pretty good for him. Best of 5. He's made Wimbledon quarters, Australian, I mean, Roland Garros quarters twice, then semifinals of both the hard court slams. And he's kind of just ran into better players in all of them. So I think
Yeah.
he's got the consistency in terms of the big events. But and he did make his way back to the top 10 last year. I want to say during Roland Garros. Um, but then he got injured and then didn't play anything until about the U.S. Open, and then kind of
Okay, so I don't want to ruin this for you, so I'm not going to say much. But all I will say is Brandon Nakashima and a backhand there. Unbelievable. Loved it. So I'm not going to say it until you see this because I don't want to ruin it. But all I've said is backhand was I've pretty much ruined it. Anyway, really good. So, wow, that was good. He's still in this. 3-1 down. Just serves an ace. 40 love. As I think Jean has broken the news that Pericard has beaten Felix Auger-Aliassime. So as Vance said, that'll be a drop in points for Felix. Nakashima sees out that game very quickly. Love hold with I think two, maybe three aces.
A little bit disappointed in FA season this year. I think last year I could also write off some of it due to injury. Like he had the knee issues. He wasn't quite right from about March to about September. Because he did get to like the Indian Wells quarterfinal. He was like all right at the start of 2023. It's just the clay season, the grass season, and then the hard courts until Basel didn't go well. But I kind of thought, okay, he can build on this for the following season. But if he finishes another year like around 30 in the world, that's going backwards quite a lot. So that's not encouraging for someone who should be in their prime right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave says he's such a nice guy, but he seems like a puppy still. Grow fangs, enjoy the hunt. Felix, let me ask you, Vance. Can you be a nice guy in tennis and be successful? Or do you have to have a little bit of? I don't want to use.
You
a
have
bad
to have
term.
an inner layer of steel in you. Like you just have to have that, that extra bit of resolve, that little bit of not really like a mean streak, because we have seen players kind of just, but you do have to kind of find a way to translate the emotions internally, because there's always like a volcano going on inside you while you're playing, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of it just comes out differently depending on your personality. Some players are just able to kind of just shrug it off, like a Yannick Sinner or something, where it's just so cool, calm, and composed, and just they don't really show it a hint of emotion. But with FA, I have seen him kind of just bottle a lot of his emotions. And sometimes when I've seen him play his best tennis, like for example Davis Cup or ATP Cup, or like when he plays those team events or when he plays indoors, he definitely does that out a little bit more positive energy.
Yeah,
So
he sits there. I suppose I'm wondering if I've ever seen Felix have a go at his box or blame his box for him losing a match. As you see the greats do it. Djokovic does it every week. Medvedev, they all do it.
Yeah, I wonder if he can explore that side of himself a little bit more, because I have seen him play some of his best tennis when he is more expressive.
Yeah, I suppose Ghost has mentioned. I nearly said this word on the stream, but I suppose do you have to have a bit of a-hole in you to be a champion in this game, in this sport? Anyway, Khachanov 15 love up in this one. He has the break of serve in set 3. The players are definitely serving better. Khachanov, Brandon Nakashima doesn't even go for that one after a strong first serve, a block return that was put away with a drive volley by Karen Khachanov. Nakashima didn't even leave the juice court. He just stood and just waited for it to be put past him.
Yeah, I'd like to see Nakashima definitely like dig in a little bit more in these service games right now, because I think Khachanov has only been pushed past 30 once. So in the last couple of sets, it's been pretty easy for Khachanov to keep up his momentum.
Yeah, another love hold here. It goes down the tee, block return by Nakashima, who, he looked a little bit disheartened here. Is Brandon Nakashima, and another love hold for Karen Khachanov. So they're flying through this third set. This third set. Apart from the game where Nakashima was broken, it's been fairly comfortable for the man with the ball in his hand. So yeah, we'll see where we go here. Nakashima now 2-4 down, 23 minutes for 6 games is pretty brisk.
Yeah.
And Brandon will know that if he needs to, the pressure adds now as we get later into this set. He's lost that first point. A really, really strong return on the second serve by Karen Khachanov, which was only Nakashima was only able to pick it up in the stretch and didn't get it over the net. And I suppose my point is, given the lateness of the match now, we're definitely in the home stretch. He knows if he loses this service game, he doesn't really have much chance to claw it back. So that adds a little bit of pressure as well, knowing that you have to hold serve here. And so Karen Khachanov has just done some really good game management. He lost the first set 1-6, but since then he's just managed this match well. He's used his experience.
Yeah, this is definitely a must hold for sure for Brandon. If he loses this game, it's basically over. And yeah, like you said, I think Khachanov is really getting the first strike in a lot of these points right now, especially when Nakashima has to go for a second serve. It's kind of just curtains for him because Khachanov is seeing the ball pretty big right now. He's rushing Brandon a little bit, and also he's just kind of easily flowing through his own service game. So it's kind of that nightmare of a couple of points just cost you a break, and you just get a lot of confidence from the fact that you were out of the match in the first set. So
yeah,
you kind of just
he's pounced on the Nakashima serve there. It's this second serve. Now Nakashima's at what at the moment for the match? First serve. Well, it's still decent, 74%. I think a lot of that will be in the first set. When he's getting it, and he is winning the points more often than not. But as soon as that second serve comes along, Karen Khachanov is taking it early, drilling it at his feet, not giving Nakashima a chance. And Karen Khachanov, I thought he was going to pull off the most audacious of audacious backhand winners down the line. It doesn't come off. Nakashima has a game point to make it 3-4.
Yeah. And obviously, once Brandon is a little bit more comfortable in these rallies, then he can open up the court a bit more. He can use the slice. He can do some of the creative stuff that we saw in the first set, come forward. Kind of that's where he can get his advantages over Khachanov. But right now, second serve points 5 for 19 for Brandon, 10 for 17 for Khachanov. So much better, and especially sets 2 and 3. It's been a big improvement just overall for Khachanov.
Well, the players are going for a seat because Brandon Nakashima has held a serve. So it's 3-4. Karen Khachanov 2 games away from the match, and he's been holding fairly comfortably for probably the best part of the last hour. So this is the last tennis of the day. Well, we try and have a look at tomorrow then. The schedule will be 1 o'clock. Now, that'll be UK time for me, so I don't know what time where you are. That's what?
Probably 5 a.m. Yeah.
5 a.m. Wow, right. So Tsitsipas Arthur Fils first. Got to say, I fancy Arthur. I think Dara was saying that he'd had a pound bet on it or a euro bet on it. And so Arthur Fils, I think, takes that one. Rublev, Ben Shelton. Gonna go with.
That's interesting. I could actually see that. I could see Ben doing something big in that one. Although Ben, he hasn't had a top 20 win all year outside of the Euro Cup. But I definitely think the potential is definitely there for an upset.
Tell me, why is Gael Monfils faded out? Is he pulled out of the tournament?
Oh yeah, he withdrew because of an illness against Musetti. So
right. Okay, that was
Musetti
right. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay, cool. Yeah, we've got Zverev Musetti. That could be tasty. Zverev obviously going to be the favourite, but Musetti's he's been playing okay.
I'd like his chances more if it was on clay or grass, but this the surface and the way Zverev played his first two matches, I see that being pretty tough for Lorenzo. But let's see.
Okay. And then, got to ask you then, De Minaur, Jakob. I mean, it's a great day of tennis. I like these matches. They're all
Yeah.
the kind of toss of a coin, really. But De Minaur and Jakob Mensich, you've been waxing lyrical about Mensich. So, are you going to go with him? Are you going to go with Mensich against De Minaur, or does De Minaur come through that?
I'm tempted to say Menchik wins it, but also I have to keep in mind that De Minaur's, looking a little bit better each and every match, and he is gonna, use his legs. It's gonna be tough for Jakob, for both guys really to finish points. But actually, Menchik with the bigger weaponry, sometimes he kind of tends to overhit. But so De Minaur is obviously the safe pick, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull it. I think Menchik can pull it off. I think
I like it.
he's primed for it. So we'll go with Menchik. But just slightly. I think the bookies have De Minaur as a slight favorite, which seems right.
Yeah. Good. Okay, right. I like that. So, I won't give you any kind of betting tips, but yeah, if you fancy Jakob Mensich, go for it.
Yeah. Also, there's also Jack Draper and.
Oh, of course.
I bet Draper would be a slight favorite there as well.
Okay.
But,
yeah.
But I expect it to be a lot closer than the US Open. Nothing like that.
Yeah. He'll be facing a different Thomas Mahatch than he did, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. So yes, good. Yeah, I'm working tomorrow, but and that would usually be a good day just to sit on the couch and watch a day of tennis. So I'll just do that on Saturday. Well,
yeah, I mean, all of these matches feel like a pick'em because they're pretty evenly matched. So that's. Apart from Zverev Musetti, I think Zverev is a pretty clear favorite there, but the other three matches in Vienna, they could go either way.
Yeah, definitely. No, I like I say, it's why I love these tournaments, because sometimes when there's an overwhelming favourite, you're just thinking, just gets to the final already and see who he's facing. But with this, it's just so open. You could, like you say, you could flip a coin. Anyway, back to the match we're watching. Khachanov, another comfortable hold at the moment, 40 love. Nakashima unable to make any sort of inroads into this serve at the moment. As I say that Khachanov hits the net, but he's a couple of game points away from nearly being there, nearly getting over the line.
Okay, I mentioned Nakashima has one of the best hold percentages, and he's one of the best on tour at saving break points. But on the return, that's where he's at the bottom of the top 50.
Was that breakpoint conversion, or
amongst top 50 players, he's number 44 on the return and break percentage.
Right. Okay.
So that's definitely an area of his game that I didn't feel like Khachanov was exploiting enough in the first set, but in sets 2 and 3, you can see just how easily he's able to fly through service games once.
So, as a coach, do you think you can tell, like, how does somebody like Brandon Nakashima address that? Like, does he have to change his return position? Does he have to try and become better at reading these serves? Is it just a natural thing that players have? Is it like they can read serves? Like, how does he get better at that?
I think adjusting return positions can definitely help. He does block a lot of returns, especially off his forehand. I think maybe sometimes on the second serve returns he can give a different look. Perhaps be a bit more attacking, because he does have that crazy good line drive backhand. So he can sometimes, but off the forehand return, I just encourage him to use more height, more depth, just kind of get the point started and hit over it rather than chipping over it, because then he's kind of in a compromised position when the opponent has a serve +1. So kind of just experimenting a little bit with that part of his game would be good, because even a 5% gain in that area is a huge difference.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's something, he's in no rush. He's a very young man. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him.
He has improved, for instance, a few things in his forehand. Like, he used to have an even longer backswing, and it used to be harder for him to absorb pace deep down the middle. It's still not natural for him, but he has shortened it a little bit. It is a bit more of a compact shot than it used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just
and also just how to get the energy back when he is a bit deflated, like he is now in these last couple of sets.
Yeah.
Sometimes it
Yeah.
can just feel like, wow, he's really disheartened, kind of given it up. I remember this in the Zverev match when he came out firing, played a really good first set at the U.S. Open, wins at 6-3. But then, as soon as, kind of like here with Khachanov, as soon as Zverev got the upper hand and momentum, it seemed basically over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's a good point you make there, Vance, and that's why I said, at the start when he got these breaks of serve, is he a good front runner? And I suppose, yes, it is
But he also
basically.
doesn't have that much experience winning the first set that comfortably against a top player. So I think sometimes that can be a bit misleading when it does happen. And maybe you
I
don't
just
kind
wonder
of,
when you win a set like that, though, you know that the opponent's going to change something. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
wonder, do
because
you?
you just know that it won't continue in that way. Like Khachanov is too good, and Nakashima inevitably is going to have a little bit of a dip. So then,
Okay.
how do you then weather that, and how do you?
Well, he is going to ask the question. He's going to pose the question: can you, Karen, serve this out?
Yeah,
So the players are having a wee rest now. The match is an hour and 47 minutes long, so we'll be roughly about the 2 hour mark at the end of this one. Should we close it out soon? But what else have we got? Well, John, I'm sure will have plans for the rest of the week. Do you know? Are you on any other stream booked in yet, Vance?
I don't think tomorrow, but maybe over the weekend it could be. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure I'll get a text asking me to jump on at some point, and yeah, if so, I will answer that call because this has been thoroughly enjoyable. But Karen Khachanov, who has, I'd be intrigued to see how many points he's lost on serve in this set. Let me check. Set in progress. Point stats. Return games played 4 points. Winners on for return points 1. I think I think Nakshima's won 3 of 19 return points so far in this set.
Yeah.
Which is pretty bad. Yeah. You've got to be
Yeah, it
far.
wasn't that much better. I think in the second set he was 5 for 25, so he's only won 8 points on the Khachanov serve. That's
In
2
2
and 3.
sets of tennis. In pretty much 2 sets of tennis.
Obviously,
Wow.
there's still
Okay.
the final service game to go, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Karen Khachanov serving at the top of the television screen that I'm watching, serving for the match at 5-4 here in Vienna. And as with many of the points in this on these last 2 sets, an unreturnable. So 15 love.
yeah, I mean, Nakashima also doesn't really have an answer for those well placed first serves right now, so it's tough for him to get into these points.
Okay, so he's won a point here. Karen Khachanov did the right thing, went down the tee on the ad, and Brandon Nakashima, as Vance has said, has block returned it, and Khachanov has went into the net when it was probably easier just to knock it over. So we have 15-all pressure. And as I say that, what pressure? An ace. I mean, that one looked wide, but again, it was so fast you wouldn't be able to say that with any kind of certainty, shall we say. 30-15, 2 points. Block return again. Strong serving by Karen Khachanov. He does have a good serve, this guy. He can spot serve. He can put power behind it. It's probably not the best in the game, but when he is in the flow, players find it very hard to get on top of the rally. And he has 2 match points here. Yeah, I agree. I think Dave. I think Vance had said that about the extreme Western grip. And Karen Khachanov wins it with an ace. It was a really, really strong serving performance there. He kisses the crowd and they shake hands. He takes off his hat. But Karen Khachanov is into the quarterfinal in Vienna for the 4th time. He's lost the last 3 as my stream ends. And my stream's just jumped on to who you were speaking about earlier in the Challenger Tour, Fonseca versus Harris. So I might watch this with my dinner. But Vance, any closing thoughts on that one? Disappointment for your boy Brandon, but as we've said, plenty of tennis left in him. Karen Khachanov, worthy winner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sets 2 and 3, the serving was just really, really good from Karen. Obviously, he made the adjustment. Started playing a lot more imposing, a lot more the type of tennis that Khachanov is capable of playing indoors. I think Brandon got off to a really great start. Obviously, he can take some positives from this week, beating Tommy Paul, getting closer to that seeding position at the Australian Open, which is the ultimate goal, I would imagine, at the end of this year. And yeah, some things to work on for sure for Brandon in terms of his return of serve, but also just kind of managing the situation when you do win a first set like that so easily against a top player, which he hasn't managed, which he usually, you wouldn't have expected right off the gates that he would go up 5-love. So that's definitely a bit of a mental adjustment for next time. Some valuable experience gained, and Khachanov obviously has a ton of great experience at this level, and yeah, he's in with a shot for sure in the quarterfinals against Berrettini tomorrow.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Hopefully that'll be the nighttime match, and I can give that a watch. But Vance, listen, mate, thank you very much for joining me and not leaving me on my lonesome. It's been an absolute pleasure again picking your brain on all things tennis. So let's do it again very, very soon, buddy. All right.
All right. Yeah. Good chat, Tom.
Top man. See you later. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
See you later.